Hello, this is JJ Humphrey, and we're on Save OCP. My friend Bobby Cleveland was going to be on here. This is Bobby's program, but Bob was set to come on, and he got really, really sick. Got sick in his stomach. I don't know. He got some kind of flu or something. Called me last minute, and so I called Emily, who works with me all the time. Me and Emily's on the phone all the time talking about all the issues going on in the Department of Correction. And so Emily is with an organization called Hooked on Justice. She's the one kind of ramrods the whole deal. And Emily has just got a lot of people reaching out. She's involved in numerous other criminal justice and prison groups. And so she has a lot of contacts, not just here in Oklahoma, but all over the United States. And so, again, very knowledgeable person on what is going on in the institutions, what's actually happening. And so, again, I called her last minute. And Emily, I do appreciate you, taking time for us in the last minute. And so we just jump right into things that me and you, this will be just like me and you having a conversation every time that we get on the phone about at least every other day or so to try to keep up.
Yeah, I have to laugh because I tell everybody you're my new best friend. We talk every day.
Oh, absolutely. And here's what's funny. People wouldn't believe this, but I can't keep up. I mean, me and you'll be on the phone going, okay, what happened yesterday? What happened this? And we're trying to keep score on what happened. And it's just unbelievable. It takes between the two of us because you'll tell me something. I'll go, yeah, I forgot about that. Or what about this over here? And then you go, oh, well, I forgot about that one. And between the two of us, we generally can kind of get a good ideal of what's happening. And it's what people don't understand. We're not getting our information from the Department of Corrections for the most part. I do want to say that I was impressed that the Department of Corrections actually reached out to you and actually are asking you for some advice. We'll see where that goes.
Yes.
Take your advice. I hope they do take your advice on a lot of stuff. What's going on? Because again, they need to hear things from another perspective on what's going on and try to react. And I hope the director ends up, giving you a meeting. I don't know whether he'll meet with you, but I hope that happens.
Well, I'm very excited that they reached out to me. This is something I've been trying to do, and the day at the meeting on that Wednesday about, Hinton, about Lawton and Hinton, I did get to talk to Harp one-on-one for about 20 minutes. He really seems like he does care. He seems interested. He did say he would like to sit with me one-on-one. So I'm working on getting a meeting with him. He's out of the office right now and stuff. So, but I'm not going to back down. I'm going to get my meeting with him because I really think he needs to listen to what I have to say. And I've been working, dealing with Nicole Fleming a lot with the community outreach department. So I'm very impressed so far. Stuff I've been going to her about, she has been taking care of it. So
well, I hope you have better luck than I do because they hate my guts and liver. And again, I'm in a little different position. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a position where I got to call out stuff. I feel like I have to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I feel like there has to be somebody that does try to hold them accountable, call them out on the issues, and try to get the issues corrected. Where you got a whole lot of different role. You're kind of a advocate for the inmates and advocate for what's going on. And what a lot of people don't understand, in mine and your talking, you're helping the staff. So we're here on OCP for the staff. But, you don't mind calling the staff out when they do something wrong, as like I don't either.
Right. And I'm always going to play both sides of the fence. When DOC's in the right, I'm going to defend them. When they're in the wrong, I'm going to not defend them, but right. I think together, them coming to me and me being able to tell them what inmates are saying and what the family members are saying, I think we can find that middle and kind of change things, like I went to them about the cooling towels, the heat is a big issue inside the prisons. I mean, it's always going to be an issue. I went to Nicole about it, and the cooling towels were approved. So, from my understanding, I believe they're going to be on commissary and everybody will be able to buy them. Of course, it's going to take a few months because they got to go through the paperwork and stuff,
Sure.
but they were approved. And that's just a little change right there that they listened to me, and it was something that was cheap.
Right.
It's something that's going to help with the guys keep cooler in there.
Well,
So
it's something that can be done. That's easily done. Simple suggestion. It may not be life altering, shattering, but again, if you're sitting down there and in them dorms, and it's they'll deny that it ever gets 114, 120 in them dorms. But I've had officers take pictures, and send it to me, and that's generally what them temperatures would show in the heat, bad heat. And
right.
so again, something like that is a huge issue when you got heat like that going on. So it
It
is.
is, and Texas does this program, and actually, an organization started it and brought it into the Texas system to where they realized in the first year it decreased the heat exhaustion people being reported by 20%.
Right.
That's a big number. So it's one little towel, and it's going to help these guys. So I'm very pleased with that. I'm very, very pleased with that.
One of the things a lot of people wouldn't realize is, the officers are right there beside them working in this stuff. And so again, for me, where my mind is blown, where's the money? Because the legislator gave them, I forget how many millions, it's up in 40 something, I think, to put air conditionings and stuff to replace some of this stuff and fix some of that stuff and improve the conditions. And to my knowledge, I thought air conditioners, I've got prison out here by me, and I thought air conditioners were ordered for those and just never got put in. And so that's the kind of stuff that I would like. You can't get a straight answer on any, and you can't get our legislators to push on getting real answers, true answers. And so that's the kind of stuff I'm really, really pushing on to try to get real answers. Why we don't, I'm not for privatization. Now I think privatization could be ran a lot better, and I think in the past it was ran a lot better. But I'm not for privatization. But right now, here's what's funny, Emily. The state is not doing any better job than the private prison. When we look at Lawton Correctional Center the other day, Governor Stitt come out and said enough is enough. Now, I come on last week talking about how I thought that was kind of funny because you got the governor coming out and saying enough is enough. And what does that mean? Is that enough stabbings? Is that enough we don't have proper food? Is that enough extortion? Is that enough not any records being kept? What's enough? Enough people dying? It's out of control. I mean, they admit by saying enough is enough, they're admitting Lawton is out of control. But here's where I'm at. Is Lawton any different or much different from Hinton? And Emily, now you know a lot about what's going on in the prison. Would you say Allen Gamble right now, so Holdenville, is worse than Lawton, or is Lawton worse than Holdenville? Which one would you say?
My opinion, I believe it's Lawton, Allen Gamble, then Hinton.
Yeah.
I think Allen Gamble and Lawton are tied. They're equal right now.
It wouldn't really matter which one's first or second. They're so close. It just wouldn't matter. They're close. And Hinton ain't pulling the far behind. I mean, just really, Emily, that would depend on what week you called us. You know what I'm saying? What week we're talking about, which one's the worst. And any one of them could be on top during that week. Would you not agree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, especially this week. There's been a lot of stuff going on this week. Right now, I would say Lawton is down here and Allen Gamble's up here, going by just this week. So it flip-flops. But like I say, I really think Lawton, Allen Gamble, and Hinton are tied.
Right. Yeah, they're so close. In fact, I got to laughing. I used to work at the horse track. Now, I gave a example of horse races, and talking about here comes them around the corner, here they are going to the straight, and which one is going to be a photo finish. And I throw Dick Connors in there. Right now, we hadn't heard of Dick Connors, but in this week we've heard some things from other prisons, and I would tell you, and things that just don't get into our conversations, Emily, that a lot of people don't know, and you put out some video on this, but Lark, about, 3 weeks ago, had 2 weeks, almost a week and a half with no water.
Yeah.
And you put out a video on that. And the thing about it is, you get 1,000+ men having to go to the bathroom and they can't flush the commodes for a week and a half, whatever it was, 2 weeks. And they don't have water in their sink. They can't get water to drink. I was told that they were getting about a bottle of water a day,
And honestly, with that one, some were saying 1, some were saying 2. So I got more answers that they were getting 2 bottles a day than I was getting that they were only getting 1.
Well, let's say they were getting 2 bottles a day. I'm tickled to death say 2. But here's the deal. When you can't take a shower for over a week, when you're in a place that's just right here, you ain't going nowhere, and you can't get washed off, you can't do anything, you can't take a drink of water when you want, you know what I'm saying? You're supposed to drink, what is it, 8 glasses of water, a day. So if you're getting 2, and again, people don't know that, but if that's what you're drinking is 2 bottles of water when you're not getting any water otherwise, you can't wash off, can't wash your face, you can't go to the sink, no water at all. Hey, 2 bottles of water, really, in my estimation, is still piss poor. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I have called the Department of Health about this before.
Right.
Because I wanted to know myself. They said 32 ounces, which, 2 bottles, 1 bottle, 16 ounces of water they're getting. So that's 32 ounces. It's significant enough for somebody to survive. But my question is that for somebody who weighs 100 pounds versus somebody that weighs 300 pounds is going to need more water than just 32 ounces. So you have to go by body weight, body mass. 32 ounces isn't good enough for just anybody,
And here's the deal: we're talking about survive. Like hey, are we out on the desert and we're going to give you just enough to survive? That's the problem when we start having those kind of terms. Well, it's enough to keep them alive. Okay. And Emily, now you know me, and me and you had lots of conversations, and I know you don't make excuses for inmates. When you call me with an inmate, you always tell me if they've got a bad record, if they got a bad rap, if they're a bad inmate. Me and you both agree there are people who need to be in the penitentiary and don't need to get out. There are some bad folks. Majority of people in there are going to end up getting out, and we need to do things to try to change behavior and make those people better people for when we get out. So we all agree, or me and you agree on that. I know me and you've had many of those conversations and agree. And we want to tell everybody, me and Emily don't agree on every issue.
No, we don't.
and a relationship good enough to where we can disagree. And I respect her opinion because I know she knows a lot about the penitentiaries. And so, again, but we agree when you have, when you have grown men in a cell and they're having to go to the bathroom and you can't flush that, and that they can't get but maybe two bottles of water in a day, and they can't take a shower, we agree that's a problem. And again, why is it taking a week and a half, 2 weeks? I can't remember exactly how long that took to get fixed, but I know that it wasn't getting fixed. I know you shined some light on it, and that sped the process up. But then a lot of people don't know we had the same problem at OSR just right after that. And a lot of people don't know we had a problem before that at Dick Connors with Ebola, and this is a reoccurring problem at Dick Connors. And why aren't these problems being addressed and taken care of with air conditionings and things like that? and people out that may be listening to this that don't work there or that don't have an ideal, they talk about, well, they're inmates, they don't need air conditioning. But when you get those places, anybody that's ever dealt with crowds know this. You can walk in have the air conditioner on, and then you bring 200 people in that room, and guess what happens? It overloads that air conditioning system. It will be hot. You can have it cool in there. Boom, you bring 200 people in, and bam, it gets warm. So again, you put 600 people in a facility crammed in there, guess what? It gets warm. And when you have 114, 120 type degrees in those dorms, and people staying there 24/7, then you have water go out or something. But it is a big deal. But also it's a big deal when you only have one person for every 100 something inmates. You know what I'm saying?
Here's what I always tell people in society, in the communities. You all complain that your taxes are supporting inmates. Really, they do. Everybody complains, well, my taxes are feeding them. My taxes are paying for their medical. Okay, so if you don't want your tax money to be paying for their medical, I would say probably maybe, what do you think? Maybe 30, 40% of people who have serious medical conditions have heart attacks, people with diabetes and stuff like that. If we had AC, some of your tax money wouldn't go into medical, because AC can stop somebody from having a heart attack in the heat, or can stop somebody like that. So you should care where your money's going.
Well,
I mean, really,
if you get preventative maintenance, what I'm talking about, diabetic treatment, you spend a lot less by giving the pre-treatment, or something you don't even ever hear. Exercise programs, weight programs. You know what I'm saying? If you got diabetes, I had pre-diabetic. I had a doctor say, I will not treat you unless you agree to lose some weight. And again, if you're diabetic, and what's funny, my wife is not diabetic. We eat the same thing almost all the time. Just doesn't affect her. Nobody, me, boom. And so I lost 36 pounds. And guess what? As long as I keep that off, I'm okay. And a lot of them don't address that, or insulin, and if you're diabetic and you're not getting your insulin, and I know you hear that every day. I hear that every day. I mean, complaints on that, people getting, beaten and not being treated, and it's scared to even go forward and get treatment, because if they go forward, they got to tell who beat them up, who did what, and then they're going to end up dead. And so it's a huge problem. If you take care of stuff like that beforehand and get it early, it's a lot less expensive than waiting until somebody is on a full-blown, ventilator, or you're having to, take them to ICU and have an officer sit with them, and we're already shorthanded. So, you know what I mean?
Right.
There's a lot of things that we can pre-maintenance do. Air conditioning is one of them.
And I 100% agree, because I mean, you have a lot of people who have asthma, can't be in the heat. I'm a heart patient, and I'm gonna tell you, I went out yesterday. I was already going an hour, and my chest was starting to hurt me from being in the heat. I had to come back home and get out the heat. I can't be outside in the heat like that no more. It hurts me. So I can only imagine somebody that's a heart patient sitting in a cell that's probably 130 degrees. Yeah. It's like I'm suffering. It's still hard for me in the AC sometimes. It takes my body a lot to cool down after I get hot, because I'm a heart patient. So I could just imagine, and I'll tell people too, the guy I'm dating, I literally watched him last night on video sit there and the sweat was just pouring down his face.
Right.
And he had 4 fans in his cell on him, and he was still, it was just dripping. Right. Wasn't even have to shower 10 minutes.
Well, here's the thing. It's just like I'm in a building today. I've got my office, and I've got a little air conditioner that's right above my desk where I'm sitting, or I can go turn on the AC. Well, I'm not going to be here long enough to turn on the AC. It just cooled off by the time I have to shut it off. So I turn on my little air conditioner. It moves the air and I've got a little fan. It moves the air. But you know what? I'm still sitting here. Just you'll see me occasionally do a little.
Yeah.
I'm not bad. I mean, it's okay. But now again, I got an air conditioner. I got a fan, and I'm still doing that. And it's not that hot today. It's pretty cool today, considering July day. It's overcast, and so yes, these things that we're talking about have got to be addressed. But Emily, for the governor to come out and say enough is enough on Lawton, and just let's just talk about, because I can't keep them all straight. You got them. You know them more than I do, I think.
I sent you the list.
I'm like, we're talking before we go on, and I'm like, hey, I write this down, and what's funny, she writes it down, I write it down, and then we'll be comparing. And I walked out and forgot my note on how many people that we've had, but since I think that was going from the 29th, maybe the 28th. There may have been one. So on no, that happened the same day, because you had a stabbing at Hinton, and then you had this inmate that got beat up, and again, there's a lot of speculation around that assault right there that ended up in a person being beat to death. So you got, and I know you knew that person pretty well that got beaten to death. So I know that's more personal to you. But one guy got stabbed on the 29th there at Hinton. Then the guy got beaten to death.
Yes, now, his cellie beat him. The word is, the word is that he was beat with a tray. He was killed with a tray.
Right. Now, also, there's kind of some rumors going around that one of the case managers, we're not going to name a name, but we got word that one of the case managers has been rumored to have a lot of problems and be involved in a lot of problems, from what I hear. I got word, and I know me and you talked about this, that she was walked off. You definitely know that for sure, right? That she was walked out of the prison.
Yes.
And again, we don't know what for, but the rumor is that it's related to this inmate's death.
Yeah. The rumor that I keep hearing is that she's under investigation, and then might be tied into this death. Right. Now, like I said, that's just a rumor. That's hearsay. So, but
and again, that has to do with her putting him in a cell, putting people together that shouldn't be together, all that kind of stuff. Correct?
I'm assuming.
Yes, that's kind of what I've heard as well. And then we had a let me see. You had a stabbing at.
Hold on, I got my look. Y'all think I'm kidding? Y'all can look at this list.
Well, you can't keep up with it. I'm trying to think. we had 2 assaults there at Allen Gamble on Native American people. Yeah, so you had 2 assaults that didn't end up in death, and then you had a couple of stabbings there that didn't end up in death. So you had 2 people beaten and 2 people stabbed. I think that was those not Native American again that got stabbed. And then I know
there was another stabbing that day, but it wasn't that serious.
Okay, so there's another stabbing I hadn't reported.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to keep track of all that. I think that's somewhere around 6 stabbings right there that we're talking about, an assault resulting in death. 2 assaults that didn't amount to too much. And then I know they're at Allen Gamble. So you had the 2 assaults, you had the person stabbed, then you had 2 stabbings. So you had 3 stabbings, 2 assaults there at Allen Gamble, and then you had a person that was that at Hinton or was that at Allen Gamble that they pepper sprayed and locked? That was at
Hinton.
So I'm bouncing back and forth because I can't keep them straight.
That's why I make my list.
Exactly. And I had mine before I walked out.
But the sad thing is that we have to make a list just to keep up with it all.
That's sad. And the sad thing is that I got to call you and say, did you hear this? Or you call me and say, did I, I mean, we're back and forth because we both have so many people emailing us, talking to us and sending us stuff. We're on the phone with people all the time. And again, it's not uncommon for me to get on the phone and call you while I got somebody on the phone and go, have you heard this? Or do you know this? Or refer somebody to you. And same thing back with you and me back and forth just to try to get the truth. Because you know what's sad is, and I'm telling people, I mean, I'm coming on here with you and saying, I get more information from you than I do from DOC. I get information from the families, I get information from the employees, and I get information from you. That's my main source of information. Families, employees, inmates send me stuff all the time too, and you. And so, and inmates go through you to tell me a lot of stuff. And so I would say I get about zero information from the Department of Corrections. And when I call the Department of Corrections, I just laugh. The only reason I send the Department of Corrections stuff is just to document what they will tell me and how they're going to deny whatever I send them. Because very rarely do they say, yes, that happened, and here's what the deal is. Rarely would that ever happen. I'll send them stuff. Oh, no, that's not happening. No, that's not happening. So here we were told that this person was locked in a small shower, which again at Hinton, when you say small shower to me, is I turned over a bunch of information on them locking people in 2x2 showers or 3x3 showers. So when you say he was put in a small shower, or not you say, that's what we've been told that it's happening. And that, do you know why? Apparently they were having some problem with him and they end up pepper spraying. What was the problem?
The only consistent story, which is the consistent one, is he was high on something and kind of flipped out, and they had to get him under control. From there, I'm getting two different stories, but the only thing that I know was true is that, yes, his heart did stop. He was shocked, and the nurse didn't stop until she got his pulse back. As of this morning, he was on a respirator, but family did notify me and said that he is coming off the respirator and he's doing better.
So for everybody listening, here's the deal. Sounds like the guy was high on some kind of drug, K2 or something, but he's out of control. They lock him in a shower. I was told, and I don't know if you heard this, but I was told they stripped him buck naked, locked him in a shower, pepper sprayed him, left him. He ends up unresponsive. Medical gets there, tries to resuscitate him, did resuscitate him, brought him back, that he did not have a pulse, that this, and kudos to this medical person, because it just sounds like she's the one that saved his life. I mean,
yeah, she did. From what I'm told, she didn't stop, and she was really upset about it as well.
Yeah, so kudos to her. And then basically they took him, put him on a vent, and today possibly the word we're getting from the family is that he is coming off the vent, and we're going to find out whether he's still in critical or whether he's out of the woods or not. But here's another issue, Emily, that we've not really discussed much on this, but I think you'll have a lot of knowledge and probably back me up on this. One of the big calls that I've been getting for quite some time is when these people are stabbed, when they have critical incidents and these inmates are being taken to the hospital, that DOC will not give the family, not even give the immediate family. I'm talking about wives, moms, dads, children, will not even give them information as to where they're at, what their status is. A lot of times they don't know anything until they get a call and say, hey, your child's dead or your husband's dead, right, or your father or mom.
It is a big issue. And actually, when the family came to me with this, and I was like, who? I said, how did you find out? They said that the prison called him. I was like, wow, the prison called him? Like, I was shocked because it's very rare that you hear that, you know. They are the prison has been communicating, not as enough as they should, but I think that it's a start.
Well, and that's what, and here's the deal, Emily. A lot of people think, man, I'm out to get this one or out to get that one. I'm out to get the problems fixed. I'm out to get this stuff done. And you said a while ago, you call balls and strikes. If the Department of Corrections does something good, then let's say it's good. If the Department of Corrections does something bad, let's call it out bad. And here's the deal: they've been doing terrible on what we're talking about. I mean, horrendously piss poor on notifying families, keeping them informed. And again, they're all security reasons. Well, bull crap. What security issue is going to have if I call your parent up and say, hey, your son's laying down here and he's in ICU, or he's on a vent, or hey, he's been stabbed 30 times and it doesn't look good. What security issues are going to be if you allow some of those people to actually come to that facility? Again, I know, you want to make sure that people don't carry a knife, or, there's some criteria you have to do. I understand that. But in these issues, when you have a family member that may pass away, parents ought to be able to spend the last few minutes or hours or days with their family member. And again, that's just common sense.
And even for me as a parent with somebody locked up, I'm not asking to come up to the hospital. You don't even have to tell me where my son's at. Just please keep me informed on his medical status, so I'm not sitting here wondering if my son's alive or dead.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if it comes to that, my son is on life support, that should be my decision to take my son off of it. I don't think the UC should have a say-so in taking somebody off of life support. Now, the only way I do think they should, if there's somebody who's not on their medical release form, or they don't have emergency contact down, there's nobody to contact.
Right.
That's understandable. But I'm his mother. I'm his power of attorney. I'm over everything for him. So I think that should be my decision. And I know a lot of times DOC makes that decision.
Yeah, that's a major problem. And again, kudos if they're trying to fix that problem. I will tell you, I've had some medical issues, and I've been able to call some of the medical staff, and we have had some people trying to do better. And you know what? I've come on and said that. The things that I've had medically, that I've had issue, I'm having much better luck at getting that done. And it ain't luck. I mean, I've got some people who are actually responding. I have a great assistant, Latoya, and so Latoya handles, because I have a tendency, everybody's mad at me, so I let Latoya handle a lot of stuff. Latoya has great rapport with some of these people, and again, they promised me that they'll do what they can. And so I've actually seen better assistance calling in. That doesn't mean it's where I want it to be. It's nowhere close, but better. And you know what? If they do better, I'm willing to say they're doing better. And again, that's what just aggravates the hell out of me, is that, I don't, my feelings don't get hurt by Kay Thompson, who knows absolutely nothing about DOC, and Director Harp, who knows less than Kay Thompson, are about the same. I'd put them in the same barrel there. But at the end of the day, when they come out and tell people I'm a hater, I just spread false rumors, I just spread hate just because I hate DOC. Totally opposite. I love DOC. That's why I do as much as I spent most of my adult career working in this field, and I'm very passionate, probably one of the most passionate people you'll meet on this subject. And again, I don't want it worse. I want to be number one in the United States. That's my goal, is to be number one. Offer all kinds of programs. Offer behavioral change, offer all kinds of, things to.
And I have to piggyback off of that, because, I did tell Harp, and I actually got to meet Kay Thompson as well, and seeing them on a different side, being face to face with them, I apologize for some stuff I said about them. I mean, I'm going to be grown, but I told all three of them, do you honestly think I like going to the news? I don't. But I have sit here when I send emails to wardens or I call, and as soon as they hear my name, they hang up on me. They don't but force my hand to go to the news to get the attention. I'm trying to come to you guys to bring an issue to you and resolve it, but I get no feedback. So you force my hand. So and I'm glad that they recognize that and that they came to me and say, hey, we recognize this, and this is why we're coming to you now. So I mean, I'm excited about this. I do believe things are going to change. And one thing I can say that I actually do give DOC credit for, when they took over Allen Gamble, they weren't prepared. I mean, they really wasn't. Just like when they took over Hinton, when they took Hinton and moved all the guys, they weren't prepared. The good thing I see out of them taking over Lawton within a year, they're giving themselves 12 months of transition into it. They're not just jumping into it blind, because I think they learned a lot of mistakes when they took over Allen Gamble and the issues with Hinton, and they don't want them same mistakes again. So
I would agree. I would agree with that statement that even a moron would have to learn, after 2 or 3 times of that. So I do think that they have learned from that. And I'm not trying to call them morons. I'm just trying to say anybody would learn from that. And I get in trouble because I say stuff like that all the time. But let me back up and just say I'm not calling them. I'm saying anybody that goes through and takes on Hinton, that the doors don't work, your electric ain't working, you don't have a kitchen in place, there's no phone service. I mean, how in the world did you ever take that over by agreement and move people in there? Who would do that? And then if you went to Allen Gamble, not much different. And again, I didn't think that that state could run it worse, but they've shown they could. But again, I think they have learned some lessons. I see them doing some things that you are pointing out that I agree. It looks like they are learning a little bit. And here's the deal. If I was trying to set them up, I wouldn't personally come on here and say, your number one issue, and I've said it only about 5 million times, your number one issue, you can have the best, up-to-date prison in the world with the camera equipment so you can view that, you can kind of cut down on some staff. You can have electric doors so you cut down on some staff. But you're going to, when it comes down to going down and shaking down a cell, putting somebody in DU, hearing what's going on, who's going to be after who's moving dope on the yard, that takes real human bodies. And when you're as shorthanded as what they are, your number one problem is not admitting that. Your number 2 problem, you're going to have to get more staff. And you can have the best facility in the world, and if you don't have that staff, you're going to have a worse facility because they're going to go in there and tear the hell out of it.
Well, but here's my thing about the staff. We could have a full prison staff, but when you got them corrupt COs, and I'm not saying everybody, because believe me, and you'll even admit there's a lot of good ones, but there's a lot of bad ones.
I would say we got majority. I would say the majority of them are good, or we'd already have more problems than what we have. But yes, the old adage, it only takes one bad apple to ruin the barrel, and we've got some bad players. There's no question. I mean, I've got a witness right now that quit at one of the prisons, because they personally watched an incident happen. They quit. They came to me and said, hey, I'm here because this right here, and ended up telling me not one, because that one incident wasn't why they quit. It was a whole series of incidents. That one incident was the straw that broke the camel's back. But this is a good person, and they were just like, that's enough. I can't sit here and watch this. I've had multiple people send me reports, officers now, and other employees, case managers, and all kinds of people saying, hey, this is not right, and sending me confidential things. So I'm going to say there's a lot of great employees out there.
Oh, yeah,
awesome employees. And that's what keeps the place going. But yes, those
hey, a lot of my information comes from employees.
Oh, I know that.
You know what I mean? And unfortunately, I understand. they don't speak up because they see what happens when people speak up.
Well, here's the deal.
They can't afford to lose their job. They have kids. They got bills to pay.
Right.
So
And
I get it.
the fact that you have got employees contacting you so that you can try to take care of something like that. So you're just an advocate, and you got employees contacting you as an advocate so you can invoke change because they're too scared to go forward. That is a huge issue. If Director, if you're listening to this, you got a problem when that's happening. You got a problem, and you were going to be this guy, open up and talk to all your employees. When that's going on, it ought to send a message that what you're wanting to be the person that everybody comes talk to ain't happening. Because when people will do that, that tells you they're scared for their job. And why would a person be scared for their job to come and tell what would improve, what you would think anybody would want to know? If I was a director and there was bad employees or there was bad situations going on, I would have an atmosphere where, you know what, not only would we encourage, not only would we reward that, but what we would have is right the opposite. You would be scared not to come and tell us. That's what what I'd be trying to say is if I find out you do about people being put in 2x2 showers, if I find out you be knowing that people were raped and nothing happened on it, guess what? That's going to come after you because you have an obligation to make the place safe and bring that forward. And that's what I would be. That's what I'm saying. The atmosphere.
But here's the issue, though. But here's the issue. When your own employees are scared of the upper staff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They are absolutely scared of their staff. They're not going to come. And that happens because they're told that leadership leads, okay? Leadership, it's not what I say, it's what I do. It's what you see me doing every day is when you begin to say, no, we can't. And it's what you see happen to the other guy that came forward with something. It's when you see a situation happen and one of these things goes bad and they come down and fire the CO who they know had no dealings with, you know what I'm saying? You ordered them to do it. They did it. Now you're going to fire them. Or you knew we're short staffed, 1 to 140, 1 to whatever. And now you expect me to do 5 people's job. And then when something happens, you're going to fire me again. And if I say anything, you're going to fire me or you're going to go after me. You're going to demote me. You're going to make my life miserable. Well, guess what? In that situation, and again, here's the other thing. I get a contact the other day, and I know you know this because you hear this as much as I do. Probably better. You probably get more direct information than I do. And so, anyways, I'm talking to a person who clearly says that certain groups of inmates, being gangs, are allowed to be out in the day rooms or out outside on their cell phones, certain clothes on. They have full run of the whole facility. They're running the show, and everybody in there knows it. And if you say anything, you're going to end up getting stabbed. You're going to end up getting in bad shape. And that everybody in there knows this, and they're out there on their phones, right out in the open, doing whatever they want right out in the open, and everybody knows that. And again,
I hear it a lot.
It's an issue. I get it all the time. I hear that right there all the time. And again, that's
just like I get names of workers who supposedly are helping certain individuals.
Right.
And I'm like, don't come to me unless you got proof. Because at this point, we can't prove it. It's hearsay. So I don't ever speak on it, because you're like me. We got to have the proof.
Well, in fact, I met with a very big lawyer yesterday on some of these same issues. And what's funny, this lawyer goes into the penitentiary and gives me, here's what's funny. I'm there to talk about this, and they're giving me a report. She's like, hey, I've got people who want me to get this to you. And it's the same stuff we're talking about. And that attorney's telling me the same stuff. So it's not you're hearing it. It's not I'm hearing it. it's coming from all
Every angle.
directions, and all of this. And again, we're not going to say all staff. We think most staff, majority of staff are great. But when you do have a staff member that puts somebody in direct harm's way, knowing that's direct harm's way, to have them, harmed, that's an issue. And again, when you got people that are being rumored to be engaged themselves over, over institutions and jobs in institutions, then that's something. But again, here's where I'm at. DOC investigates herself. And as you said a while ago, you say, you call balls and strikes. I think everybody knows that DOC says all I do is say foul, 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 which is not true. I mean, here's the deal. If they do something good, I'm going to say it.
Right.
I'm for fixing the institutions. I don't believe you're going to get that with the current administration. I'll say that straight out front. But if you do, I hope you working with them. Kudos to you. Kudos to them. If y'all can get it done, then I'll sit back and say, awesome, you got it done.
And you know what? It's funny because I am kind of getting a little backlash because people are like, oh, you're working with DOC now. I said, hold on. I'm not an employee. I'm not on their payroll. I am just helping them as an advocate because I know a lot inside that really they don't know. Right. So by me bringing it to their attention, all we can do is hope that they take it serious, they look into it, and come up with a solution.
Well, and the solution,
if I can have any chance to be a part of any change inside for the guys and the women, why would I not want to work with them and help?
Why would you not? And solutions, and that's the deal. We can't just sit around and bitch about. Now, I've got solutions. I quit giving solutions because they take my solutions, bastardize them, never give me credit, and then come out and say I'm a dirty SOB. So I just quit a long time ago. But kudos to you if you can do it. I would encourage anybody listening, hey, listen, anybody that wants to help, anybody that's trying to help, awesome, super good on all of that. But again, we see all of these issues that I'm talking about going on. And again, we have OIG investigating, and they're under the director. And so what happens is, I can tell you everybody that I talk to, nobody believes that they call for an investigation, that DOC is going to properly investigate that. There's nobody believes that. They're going to cover it up. We've seen it time.
And I agree, and that should be with anything. I agree. There should be an outside investigation done, not somebody that's employed with DOC or a part of DOC.
Right.
It's okay for DOC to do their own investigation. I mean, that's their building. Of course they're going to do that. But there needs to be somebody else on the outside that investigates it as well.
Right.
I support that.
Especially for these, for rape, for murder, for stabbings, for serious incidents, there ought to be, when you have as many going on as what you're seeing right now, that, hey, you don't have to have much brain to know you have a massive problem when we're sitting here discussing 5 days in the, I've come out and said this. Nobody seems to pay attention to it. But there's a word called escalation. And when we're sitting here trying to keep score and we can't keep score, Emily, now was that at Hinton? Was that on this day? Did we skip this one? Do you remember? Hey, and Emily, did we even mention that they had I think we missed one because they had 2 stab each other at OSP. I don't think we got those.
No, we didn't mention that one.
2 stabbed at OSP and 1 died there at OSP. So left that out of the mix and all that in 5 days. So here's the deal. We're trying to discuss approximately a 5-day period from, or maybe it's 7. I forget. So
really though, the incidents between Alan Gamble and Hinton and this death was like really a 4-day period.
It was. So about a 4, I say 5. But here's the deal. When you're discussing that and you can't keep up with what's going on in a 4-day period, and you're talking about stabbings and this and that, and you forget, oh, hey, what about the two that got stabbed at OSP and one guy died? We left that out, you know what I mean? So here's the deal. When you're saying how many actually died, that guy got off the vent, so he didn't die. This one got stabbed 20 times.
We know exactly 2 deaths that I
We
know
know
of.
2 deaths for sure. And then the guy got stabbed 20 times, so he should have died, but didn't, you know.
Yeah, I don't have
the guy got on the vent. Let's say this: the guy died, got resuscitated, so you could actually say 3, but one come back. So we'll just put that one on the bubble and let you decide. You know what I'm saying? So that's an issue when you have that kind of stuff going on. And again, if people can't see that, you know, we talk about waiting for a riot. Guess what? Every day's a riot at these penitentiaries we're talking about.
And you know what? And what people have to look at too. In the summertime, incidents go up more. There's more deaths, there's more heats in the summertime than in the cooler months. Because the heat and then not being cool, or they're irritated, they're agitated. So deaths do increase in the summertime in the heat.
You know, and Emily, we just really kind of gotten into, we've had pretty mild summer so far. And just this last week, we've seen some heat come on, some 100 temperatures, you know, 101 or so. I think it's supposed to cool back down. We got a hurricane coming in off the coast down there in Texas. And so the things that I'm looking at, maybe possibility of some rain next week and some cooler temperatures, just a little cool down, I think. I'd have to go back and look at that. But really, we've had a pretty mild summer, and so we've gotten lucky there. But we've still got August to go through, and man, August can blister down. And you start having some of these heats and some of these water issues and some of the other issues that we're talking about. And again, what we're talking about is maintaining these facilities. And that's what we've seen. We've seen all of this money. And again, you can't lay this on Harp's door. This has been going on for years and years and years.
Right.
Prisons have been neglected, and we gave money to help those back when I first got in. And again, where's that money and how was it spent and all of those kind of things. And what are we doing right now on these contracts? Man, we need to know. You know, here's what's funny, Emily. 3 or 4 times I've stopped the private prisons. I've been significant. Let me not say I stopped. Really, I contacted the governor, and I've contacted some people over the contracts that got that stopped. But I mean, I was a significant force behind it. But I've stopped them from getting big time money, millions of dollars. And again, one of the problems I had with that, who gets that money? I mean, there's no under contract how you're going to give this to hire so many employees. It's not in there. They can put the money in their pocket and walk off. And so again, that's one of the big issues is where's all this money going and what are we getting? Because again, if I make a contract with you to do supervision, that contract's going to say you're going to supply so many officers. You're going to supply so many records people. You're going to supply such food. That contract's going to be listed out and if you don't do that contract, I'm not waiting 5 or 6 years. I'm not waiting for 2 years of massive, out of control riots. I know they hate that little word, but it happened. And so I'm not waiting till all that happens. I'm going to come in, and they've known that's going on for quite some time. And then what aggravates me is for me to be able to come out and say it. And then they come back, oh, J.J. Humphrey's a hater. J.J. Humphrey is a liar. J.J. Humphrey just starts rumors. J.J. does this, J.J. does that. And now, guess what? They're coming out, enough's enough. We got to get rid of them. It's so bad. Well, then obviously, J.J. Humphrey ain't quite the liar y'all made him out to be. Obviously, some of this stuff is true. And here's the other part that just kind of agitates me is tell me anything that I've said, and I'll challenge you, DOC. Quit running your head saying I'm this, that. Bring out the evidence. Show me that what you say, how many officers to staff that you say. Come out and show me that, because I'll show you where y'all claim 10 different other things. And who in the heck knows that's where you have a credibility issue.
Mhm.
And that's why y'all don't like me, because I come out and show that. Not what I think, what I say. Here's the evidence and the proof. What I come out and show when I say, oh, hey, this guy got stabbed 70 times and 8 times in the neck and stuffed in a trash can and wasn't found for 8 hours, which means y'all ain't counting. Which means you ain't counting.
And I have to say, because, somebody asked me actually today, how do you know that these workers aren't lying to you? I said, first of all, they're coming to me. Second of all, they know that I could expose them at any time. Why would they risk that on some lies?
Well, and again, Emily, we don't just go with one person. You call
Right.
me.
Yeah.
And hey, I call you up and say, hey, I'm hearing this. Can you check around? And we don't go off one. Hey, we could come out right now. What we were talking about, some employees involved and stuff like that. Both of us could come out right now and say, we hear this, we hear this, we hear this, we hear this. You know what I'm saying? Let's take that deal down there at Lawton. I mean, you heard that guy that opened the gate was paid to open it. Okay, I heard he was paid to open it. I was told 3 or 4 days before that. And again, you heard that. I got people who came and told me that. You had people come and tell you that. But again, we know that it was open. They say human error by accident. So one, we know that happened. That's not a maybe happened. And then we have multiple sources saying he got paid. Now, we never said he did or didn't. What we said, it deserves an investigation, which guess what? We're never going to hear whether that actually was or was not. And that's what I'm talking about. That's why you need an outside investigation to get to that. But again, the reason we don't come forward with a lot of the information that we have is because we can't verify it. And if we can't verify it, guess what? We're not saying it. But that's what makes them mad. Here's what's funny. I would challenge you, anything I've said, DOC challenge right now, anything I said that you can prove I lied, get her out there. Put her out there. And if you can prove I lied, I'll come on and go, hey, they caught me in the lie. Now, I can tell you that if you do catch me, it won't be an intentional lie. I'm not going to lie intentionally. I'm not going to do it.
I kind of want to bring this up, though, about the meeting and how now, Stephen Harp did say in the meeting that these legislators were involved with the negotiation with the GEO contract, and now how that story has flipped, because I heard what he said. I was in the room, so yeah, I'm kind of interested in what your feelings are about that.
Well, here's the deal. They've got people, and he's going to 2 or 3 of the top legislative people, and they're cutting out the entire legislative process. Here I am, criminal justice, and I ain't heard nothing. Don't hear anything. I'm on the budget, public safety. I'm not hearing anything. So if you take criminal justice corrections guy on the budget committee and he ain't been told one thing about what we're talking about, obviously they're not telling too much, or they're purposely cutting me out. And again, I would say I know more about corrections than anybody up there, know more what's going on. Why are you purposely cutting me out? Because you don't like what I got to say, which is me calling out the truth and exposing you. So yeah, they're going to their little certain ones that'll do whatever they want. They're getting whatever they want. They're only telling half the truths. They're not telling the whole truth. And again, we're not seeing what's actually all involved in all of these negotiations. And again, what's funny, they come out like, well, we're at war with Lawton, with Geo. And I said from the day, I'm on record saying, hey, they've been in bed for a long time. That seems pretty strange. And you hide and watch, they'll get together. And so it looks like a ruse. It looks like a setup to get a little extra time, because they were catching so much hell, catching so much heat. So they come out and say, we're going to get rid of them. They come out and, oh, they hadn't done this, they hadn't done this. And now we get back together, and now, oh, we got it all worked out, and y'all calm down. We're going to get it all worked out. That's what it seems like. That's what it appears like. That's what I'm going to be shocked if it's not that. But then you got these people in the legislature don't know sick of them from come here, and they're going to do whatever they're